Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of The Gifted. This is the season finale for season 1. It will contain spoilers, but this will cover 2 episodes, so right here will be where part 2 starts. So sit back and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Nephilim Entertainment. I'm your host, Metatron, and this is a very special episode because this is the season finale of The Gifted, and this happens to be episode 12, eXtraction. Oh man, a lot went on tonight, and let's just say that, yeah, it's blowing my mind. I have to process this, probably why it's taking so long, but first thing we cover is 4 years ago. Apparently, Campbell had a brother. Now, to the audience, I don't know if they're trying to make you sort of relate to the guy or try to give him sort of a means of humanity. I'm not buying it. I honestly, God, do not think that for whatever reason, torturing live human beings, regardless of what their social status is something that you can justify. So, nice try, guys, but I don't really see Campbell as a humane person. But with that, we also see that he's very anti-mutant from the very start. 4 years ago, his brother's dying of genetic disease or whatever, and he's just, guy just needs to just be thrown off a cliff or something. I mean, I can't stand Campbell as it is. And back in reality, though, we're back at the Mutant Underground, and of course, the Frost sisters are there making friends as usual, and they happen to bring up Clarice's past. Apparently, she has a very shady past. And we don't really know much about her past other than she stayed in foster care. We find out that she actually joined up with the Brotherhood. There's a name drop we haven't heard a lot in this TV series, the Brotherhood, which is a band of sort of like the polar opposite of the X-Men. The X-Men were the heroes that try to help out mutants and humans alike. The Brotherhood just pretty much raised hell and try to make mutants sort of the alpha players in the whole game. So find out that Clarice actually used to work for the Brotherhood, which is very interesting. But Johnny Boy ain't happy, not one bit. And I don't know if he's just hurt because of our little fairy-looking princess sort of kept something from John, especially after he lost. He already lost Sonya, so I don't know if he's trying to find a rebound girl or not. But I guess find out that the girl that you might have interest in used to work for people that you don't agree with their methods. Yeah. But something else that's popped up too is that Campbell is on the hunt for missing research. The very missing research that Reed has in his possession, which are nothing more than just footnotes, and he can't really decipher much of it anyway, because he's more of a lawyer, not a scientist. So why he has it in his possession, who knows? But maybe they'll hold a key to them figuring out how to unlock his powers, maybe. I would love to see Reed throw out some powers, especially after watching his father Otto bring the house down literally on Campbell's head. But Andy and Lauren are actually sort of having it out right now. They're having different viewpoints. Andy's taking more of the we should attack, we should stand our ground, show our might. Lauren's more of the let's have a peaceful solution. And right now we're starting to see the siblings sort of have a mixed match sort of opinions, which is in most cases rare for these two characters. They've been sort of like mine for a while, but we're starting to slowly see a rift come between the two. And Andy's, like I said, he's more for the guerrilla tactics and trying to get everything resolved with excessive force, while Lauren's wanting to take a peaceful battle with this. So it's interesting to see how these two are going to end up developing as characters. And Fade, he's still got an issue with the Strucker family. I mean, dude, get over it. It's been like, what, 6 episodes ago? Good God, man. You're holding a grudge way too long. And honestly, I would love to see Kay just walk up and just smack the fire out of Fade. That's just my opinion. But peace is not really something that we can count on, especially for Mutant Underground, because now we're finding out that Ellen Strucker, which is Reed's mama, is now got she's in Sentinel Services crosshairs, probably both figuratively and literally. We both know how they like to handle situations, especially after Otto getting shot. So, Ellen, you might want to run, girl. But we're seeing also Esme and Lauren talking again. That's never good. The little telepath is still feeling ideas in Lana's head about her being all that she can be and her being sort of the alpha mutant in this whole situation. Okay, so Lorna happens to have a dad who's a big player in the Hellfire Club. What does that got to do with her? Oh wait, we get to see her mutant might as she takes it out on an unsuspecting bed frame. Yeah, apparently no one's going to be sleeping easy in that house tonight. But things go into motion. We actually get to see them sort of hashing out the plans and sort of going Splinter Cell slash Black Ops with things, sort of, doing a covert, sort of sneaking in. And to me, honestly, with them doing sort of a covert kind of thing, that sells to me more than just all out war tactics. I mean, for them to actually, do the whole covert espionage kind of thing, to me, it just sort of piqued my interest right off the bat. I mean, we don't get to see that very much because the only time we've ever seen mutant situations sneaking around is when we had just a few glimpses of it with Wolverine. Other than that, it's always been some of that, frontal assault up front. Hey, look at me, flashing powers, making a big show. But for them to actually do the whole covert thing, I'm digging it. I really hope, honestly, we see more of this, especially later on as the story progresses. I would love to see them actually blending in and trying to, sabotage from the inwards of most of these anti-mutant establishments. But as things are progressing with the Reed and his mama, they are trying to make an escape for her. Well, in the process, they leave the kids to guard the getaway vehicle. Well, as they're approached by Sentinel Service agents, Andy and Lauren have a differences on how to handle this. Andy wants to smack them around like little rag dolls. Lauren is not too keen on the idea, so for the first time, we see the Strucker kids actually hashing it out with their powers. Who honestly saw that coming? I didn't. I mean, honestly, I would love to see sort of a Sasuke Naruto kind of vibe going on here where they have a Clash of Titans kind of power bout going on. I mean, I would love to see that. Who here wouldn't? But with all that said and done, it doesn't last for too long because as they're slowly hashing it out, the family decides that they need to be on the run from things. Sorry about that. And we actually get somewhat of a Easter egg drop because one of the senators wants to point out during this conference that Campbell's at, this nice little humanity conference, aka kill all the mutants, as Esma politely puts it. They are cleaning up the debacle after the robot days. Now, if anybody is not familiar with the timeline, Sentinel Services is named after sort of the mutant killing machines that Trask Industry actually built back in the 70s. We actually get to see a glimpse of them in Days of Future Past, where the Sentinels are actually used against them by Magneto, which caused a big stink. But point being is that we're actually going with possibly the alternate timeline where mutants are actually somewhat, I mean, yeah, they're being hunted and massacred, but they're not really being hunted by giant robots, at least not the ones like we've seen in Days of Future Past. So find out that maybe this is the alternate timeline, which bodes well. A lot of good stuff can happen and stuff that we're not expecting, and especially since, they're always talking about the mutant, the mutant parties like the X-Men and Brotherhood are missing. Who's to say they couldn't be, laying low, and we could be seeing somewhat of a making for future cameos in movies. I'm down. But anyway, Ellen, she's talking about Otto. Apparently, Otto was a big mystery to her, which surprisingly, considering they were together for 26 years. But apparently, Ellen doesn't know much about Otto. In fact, she doesn't even know he's a mutant. And apparently, she didn't know her son Reed was a mutant either. So, girl, you nasty. You with a mutant? You nasty. No, seriously, I find it interesting that they left Ellen's character in the dark. I'm not really seeing how much they could develop with their character, but at the same time, it's interesting to see sort of the naivete of, well, I don't know who I'm actually with. You didn't know he was a mutant? Well, no. It's an interesting turn, especially since you find out your son's a mutant too. So, was this bold for her character? Possibly, maybe a sympathizer. I mean, she obviously is big on family, and to see her find out that the whole mutant cause is more closer to home than what she thought, who's to say that we won't see Ellen more of a sympathizer? I'm curious to see what Ellen's going to bring to the future of her character. But we we come across Montez again. He is so just anti-mutant, just so anti-mutant. I mean, we obviously seen, how he's part of this purifier group. We see how he takes on the whole idea of someone infiltrating his campaign group as a mutant. He's bucking for president. So Montez is going to be an issue for the mutant cause, and with Campbell running sort of black ops kind of hound programs that he has, this is not going to bode well for the mutant kind, not one bit. And we actually now get to see something that, for all those who ship it, have actually seen it. I, for one, don't care. But I thought it'd be interesting to point out, we actually get to see John and Clarice, aka Blink, actually share a passionate moment together. For all you who are into the whole sappy thing, it's oh kind of moment. For the people who aren't, can we keep going? Yeah. So, with that being said, Lauren, Lauren thinks Andy has changed. This is another big issue that we're coming across in this episode. We're seeing, like I said, a rift between Andy and Lauren, brother and sister. They're starting to clash. Lauren's starting to think that Andy's starting to maybe lose it a little bit. And there's a strong possibility that you could be correct. Just saying. Strong possibility. But who knows? We'll see. But our group, John and them, finally get close to Campbell. What else does he do? He tucktails and runs and uses little kids as a getaway point. Can someone please kill this guy? Please. Alright, this is episode 13, X Roads. Well, everything just kind of fell apart last episode, and we're actually taking a glimpse sort of into Lauren's past right off. Yeah, I'm seeing an interesting trend these past two episodes. Episode 12, we dealt with Campbell. He was sort of the extremist for the humans. We're seeing parts of his past. Now we're starting to see Lorna's past for the mutant side. So I wonder if they're going to hint her towards that this is a foreshadowing of her actually becoming an extremist for the mutants. Which is an interesting point, considering that for those who, like me, already know her family basically who her family is. Her father is a mutant extremist already, so it to me seems fitting. But anyway, yeah, the Frost sisters are not happy right now with how things went down. You know, they felt like there was get Campbell by any means necessary. Whoa, 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 whoa. Does that mean killing little kids too? Because if not, you are so still hot, but I'm extremely mad at you. No, we do not kill little kids. No, I don't care how hot you are. And yeah, it's just no, we don't kill little kids. But with all this going on, Reed family and his family are just sort of kind of trying to hash things out too. Andy's wanting space. Family's kind of on edge right now. And Turner shows up again, and this time he's got him a new toy. Apparently, Campbell gave him some nice little mutants that are good at tracking. So it's interesting to see how Signal Services are actually going to start tracking down the Strucker family, which is going to lead them to the Mutant Underground. Meanwhile, we find out what Lauren's problem basically is. She's afraid, which is interesting for her character because her character's always been this headstrong, sort of forceful person. And now to see her actually afraid and admitting that she has fears is quite an interesting development. She's afraid for herself. She's afraid more for her family. And that's not just including her baby, but the Mutant Underground. And she's starting to get this sort of family feel for mutant kind as a whole. And to see them suffering at the hands of humans, uh, it's really interesting to see that. But Andy won his space, and I love how he drops the whole discrimination. Well, the humans are after us. And I forgot for a moment about Reed's family history. So when Kate was like, "Whoa, whoa, am I after you?" I was like, "Reed, aren't you going to stand up and say something about him discriminating against you too?" And I thought, well, wait a minute, he's a mutant too. Yeah, it's amazing how if you don't see them use their powers, how you forget that they're mutants. But Andy's starting to get a little bit more sort of towards the extremist side. I'm actually loving the fact that he is actually developing that because his character always sort of took a sideways approach to things, and now to actually see him head towards something head on and with all his heart and compassion, or with all his heart and motivation, it's interesting to see how this is going to develop. But Turner, he's not backing down from this. Apparently, he's still got the whole sort of vengeful mindset, especially after the death of Weeks and just everything that's going on. He's not backing down, which leads him right to the Mutant Underground. So now these guys are having to evacuate. Well, you know, Marcos, of course, is also, he's getting mean with the Frost sisters because Lorna and Esma have gone missing, or Esma and Phoebe, or one of the two sisters, or two of the three sisters. He's getting mean with the last remaining sister because apparently they're, in his mind, they're twisting Lorna, making her do things and feel things that she wouldn't normally do that. Are you sure? I mean, are you sure? She's pregnant and she's afraid. Not two good combinations, especially with a woman who apparently has a history of mental disorder. I mean, you're just basically throwing gasoline on the fire and wondering why the flames are getting so big. Maybe there's more to this, Marcos, have you ever thought about that? But he's starting to show a mean side and threatening the Frost sisters, which I find interesting considering they're telepaths and they probably could make him do whatever they wanted, but I've seen that their manipulation tactics work a little bit different. So, with all this going on, Turner finally shows up at the Mutant Underground. Well, the Struckers are actually leading some of the youth to combat. Reed is actually leading the kids to combat. What? Of course, he's pulling out a shotgun and barking orders. Well, okay, if that works. Hopefully your mutant ability has good targeting. But while he's doing that, Kate is leading the others to try to find a way to escape from the Sentinel services without many casualties. Okay, fine. Well, Turner's Turner's not taking any prisoners whatsoever. In fact, he unleashes the Hounds, literally unleashes the Hounds. He pretty much all that's within his control, he sends into the Mutant Underground building to try to take them out. And while the kids are able to hold them off for a certain point, it's finally become this whole we're fighting a losing battle, let's make a getaway. So while Kate finally gets away for everyone to get out the back, the Strucker kids actually come up with this great idea. Why don't we join hands and we take down the building, stopping Sentinel services, stopping the Hounds? So they basically do a Hail Mary play. And it works phenomenal. Not to mention the CG for it, pretty alright. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it looks sort of over the top, but works for me. We'll go with it. So, when they do that, we go back to Lorna and her story, and we're finding out what her main target is. She's actually going to go after Campbell himself. The Frost sisters led her to this point, and she sends the Frost sisters back to go tell everybody, hey, she's doing this on her own. Well, apparently they didn't get the memo or the message through because the guys still came after her. And they start, Marcos especially struggles with the fact you're not a killer. You want to bet? And as our girl dramatically reaches towards the skies, the plane's falling off with Senator Mortez and Campbell. We watch this girl literally rip the plane out of the sky. So now our girl has actually got her hands dirty and has actually got blood in her hands. Which you would think her killing two of the main antagonists of the series was fine, but with that came sacrifices of innocent people who were just associated with these people. So everything's starting to calm down. The Mean Underground's going to their safe point. But I saw something on the sign that was kind of interesting. And this is an Easter egg. And I wish I had a screenshot of this because most of the Mutant fans out there and the X-Men fans will appreciate this. As they're going to their sort of safe point, we see a business sign that says J. Kirby's Feeding Store. Well, for those who don't know, who are watching this, J. Kirby stands for Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was actually one of the main creators of the X-Men back in the day. So this is a nice little Easter egg and sort of a callback to the original artist. I think that's pretty mind-blowing, and I think that's pretty awesome that they would do that. You gotta love a comic book show and a comic book movie that really sticks to their roots. And I love it that they're calling back to the original creator. I love that. But that was an interesting Easter egg. I found that. But now we get to the aftermath of the whole story. Senator Mortez and Campbell are both dead, supposedly. Which it's a comic book show. You never know. They could pop up somewhere. But right now we're just going to assume they're dead. They're dead. Strokers. They're actually... they're recovering. But here's an interesting thing. Lorna goes missing after all this. She shows back up at the safe point with one of the Frost sisters. Of course, she's all decked out, metal jacket, metal bling, everything. She started taking the whole mistress of magnetism to a whole new level. Looking hot while she does it, just saying. Well, she actually sort of draws a line in the sand. You want to stay here and hide? Stay here. But if you really want to get something done, come with us. I love it that half the Mutant Underground gets up and go, including Sage, including, get this, Andy. Andy Strucker actually leaves his family to go with Lorna and one of the Frost sisters. I find it interesting. I mean, Sage, don't know much about her, don't know her mutant abilities or anything like that, but for her to actually go isn't surprising. But for Andy, well, we can see it coming. His character was developing sort of not really an antagonist, but sort of a, his family was going this way, he was going this way. It was bound to happen. And I love that him and Lorna sort of foreshadow, or not really foreshadow, but sort of represent sort of the dividing force between most mutant kind. You got the mutants that are wanting to have a peaceful life alongside the humans, Lorna, and then you got the mutants who want to not be pushed around and show supremacy over the humans, which is Andy's side. Lorna's side, Magneto, Professor X over here. Big full circle. Just big. So with Andy and Lorna are now on opposing sides. Turner is actually being somewhat interrogated by his own people, and he actually snaps, turns his badge, says I quit. So that's going to be interesting to see. So, needless to say, a lot of changings is coming. I'm wondering what's going to happen next. Alright, this is the season 1 wrap up. Alright, for your gifted, let's wrap this up. Alright, first of all, first thing they dropped at the end of the episode was the Mutant Resistance with a flag, a banner, flying, will return in the fall. Mutant Resistance, I'm liking that. I mean, we've seen a lot of mutant forces. Most of them were always sort of on the side of let's sign a petition, guys. Let's handle this diplomatically. You are actually going to probably see somewhat of a war now developing between the humans and the mutants. I'm guessing Lorna and her group is going to be part of the resistance. I'm just wondering what's going to happen to the Mutant Underground. I mean, we know they're big on trying to get all the mutants away, trying to get them to safety, because especially with the mutants being hunted, but with the death of a senator, the death of a sort of a man who's got close political ties, I'm just wondering, I'm just interested to see how this is going to develop. I mean, you're going to have a all-out war by the time season 2 comes around. The future of the series, I'm seeing, like I said, I'm seeing a lot of combat coming to the near future. I'm seeing the possibility of them maybe expanding the Hellfire story, because we've seen glimpses of it. We've seen representatives of the group. What's really interesting is to see sort of how this is going to all sort of encompass the whole story. How Hellfire is really what their main objective is and what their true goals are. I'm hoping to see that in season 2. Hoping we see more about Hellfire, learn about its history, learn about its other members, what is their true intentions, what's going on, and will they possibly tie into some X-Men movies? Because that'd be interesting to see, especially with the Days of Future Past, Apocalypse movie, how the timeline sort of changed. It's interesting to see how this can maybe seep over into the movies, or if the movies will seep into them. Which brings me to the next point. Are we going to see cameos in season 2? Are we going to see cameos from any of the X-Men movies? Some possible Brotherhood members? Hey, at this point, I'd settle for Pyro. Pyro coming in, flicking his little Zippo, walking around, antagonizing some of the mutants. I'd settle for him. I would just love to see actual movies sort of blending in with their TV series like they did for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But that also brings me to my final point. With the purchase of Fox by Disney now owns the rights to the X-Men, which poses a question. Is there a possibility that we might see some actual MCU characters pop in? Maybe some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Who knows? But I'm excited about it for season 2, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And not only that, but in April, Legion's coming back. another series that I plan on doing a cover on, and maybe a recap in season 1. But I'm interested to see if maybe we won't see some of that introduced into this storyline. I'm excited. How about y'all? But that's been my question. Are you excited about season 2 and the future of the Mutant franchise? Let me know here up this poll. But that's going to do a wrap for me. Be sure to give me a big thumbs up down below and post me a comment, being all friendly and stuff. Be sure to subscribe to my page and stay tuned to the end of the video for more content. But I'm Manager on your own, and you're watching Nephilim Entertainment. To all you daydreamers and creators out there, keep your heads in the clouds. Peace.